Welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell.
Where's Susan going for the holidays? Anywhere?
Oh, so the day after Christmas. I haven't booked my flight yet. I know I need to do that very soon.
Yeah, what are you waiting on?
Well, just travel plans. And, you know, family stuff. You try to figure out who's coming when and going where. And, we're trying to go to my parents in upstate New York. I've told you about this before. It's never an easy direct flight. They're in upstate. We got to get to Albany, so we're trying to figure out.
Where's your first leg, Charlotte?
Well, so it depends on what airline. It's either Charlotte, Detroit, or Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
Or Philly sometimes.
Yeah.
Or alternately, we can fly into New York City, rent a car, and drive 3.5 hours north.
Yeah. When my youngest lived in Pennsylvania, it's always hard to get out to, it's the same thing, either Charlotte or Chicago, but man, Charlotte's like a 4.5 hour flight.
Yeah, it's not the most fun.
That's a long flight.
But you know what? I have flown 1 or 2 times on business trips without my children. And I feel like that's a vacation to me now.
Yeah. Well, you don't have,
all of a sudden. So the way you travel, I know you're probably annoyed by it. But to me, I look at people like you traveling and you're just able to watch whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want.
And you can read a book.
Yes.
And you're not worried about, making sure kids aren't eating too many snacks and getting airsick.
I don't have to bring a sippy cup.
No, none of it.
I don't have to bring a stroller.
I love my children very much. I want to qualify that.
Yeah.
I love traveling with them, but it is tiring.
It is tiring. Hey, listen, I've been there, okay? But it is nice to be an empty nester. That's for sure.
For a handful of things, yeah.
Hey, listen, enjoy it while you can because, as they always say, they grow up fast and they really do. Hey, we're talking about traveling today, and there's there's a survey with some really unusual findings. Right?
Yeah, travel trends. People are spending travel dollars a little bit differently.
Yeah, for something called what is it? Fandom travel.
That's one of them.
Yeah. I didn't know what it was. I had to look into it. Fandom travel.
Well, that's why we're having this podcast, right?
That's right. We got Lauren Gumport. She's from Faye Travel Insurance, and you are in Tel Aviv. How are you today, Lauren?
Traveling in Tel Aviv. Yeah, I'm great. How are you guys?
What the heck is going on in Tel Aviv?
Just traveling, visiting, and then flying back to the States soon. But more importantly, what's happening in travel? What are Gen Zers and Millennials spending on?
Tell us.
So the most interesting thing, and I think you mentioned it, right, is fandom travel. We also call it set jetting, so a take on jet setting, you could say. And they're paying almost an average of $2,500 per person to go to their favorite movie and TV sets. So we're talking the luxury hotels that White Lotus features, Emily in Paris, who doesn't love Paris, Bridgerton, and even Outer Banks, just to kind of feel like they're part of the series, for example. But we've also seen many more trends that are pretty interesting. Concert tourism, planning an entire trip around, say, Taylor Swift Eras Tour, and even plan-free travel, arriving, no plans, maybe for night 1, and then the rest of the trip, they're planning when they get to their destination. Nothing before.
That seems stressful to me.
Yeah, that really does.
As a parent, it could be really, really stressful. But I've done it, and I have to say, loved it. Loved it.
Well, tell me how that works. You really get there, and are you figuring out these things all on your own, or are you kind of crowdsourcing once you get to the hotel and you're asking concierge, like, oh, where should I go for dinner? How are you doing this?
So and it's funny because it's part of the survey. I happen to also be a millennial. A lot of folks are also booking just based on what they see on social media, a cool video on TikTok, a reel on Instagram. If I'm on the plane and there is Wi-Fi on that plane, when I'm landing, I know I'm landing, I am doing a little Instagram, TikTok stalking. I'm favoriting some things and I'm booking based on what I see there, honestly, at least for the first 24 hours. If I'm staying in an Airbnb, I'm asking the host their local recommendations. I'm currently all about Airbnbs, less about hotels these days, but I always kind of flip-flop. And to be honest, this whole plan-free travel type of vibe has never done me wrong, truly.
I have to say, one of the best little trips that my wife and I took was a plan-free travel. As you know, Susan, my wife works in the airline industry, so we get free airfare.
You're allowed to take more trips than us regular folks.
Downside of that is I have to fly standby. But, I mean,
that's the plan free, right?
Exactly. But we got on. We went to Santa Monica. We woke up. We're like, hey, let's go to California. Flew to Santa Monica. Took an Uber to the beach. Walked about a mile on the beach. Went to some restaurants and bars. Did some shopping. And then, we didn't know where we were going to go next. And it was the best thing. And then
sounds like magic.
We wound up at dinner on the pier. Beautiful restaurant, great food. And then we took an Uber back to the airport, got on the plane, came back. It was all in one day.
That's incredible.
It was awesome. Didn't even spend the night. And it was like so memorable.
I love that so much. You're inspiring people to travel. I want to go back to the fandom travel or the set jetting.
Yeah.
Where would you go? Do you have a favorite show or movie that you would want to see and kind of feel like you were a part of?
Yeah. So Seinfeld, right?
Okay.
Are you familiar with Seinfeld?
Of course.
I would love to be in that neighborhood, or at least on the set where they did it. But there those shots that they have, like the apartments and everything where they supposedly live. Yeah, I'd like to cruise around that.
Go get some soup.
Soup Nazi. Yeah, I'd love to. Go there. That's the first one that pops in my head. How about you?
That sounds so fun. The funny thing was that popped into my head just because it's my favorite movie, and we're getting into the holiday season. Home Alone. Like, I want to go take a photo in front of the Home Alone house.
Yes.
Just because it feels so Christmassy and so lovely, but it's just a regular person's house in a regular Chicago neighborhood.
That is so funny, because I was watching a movie the other day, and it was this gorgeous house that was in the movie, and I was like, wow, I want to check this house out. And I looked it up, and I found the address. And
you're going to put in an offer tomorroh, right?
It was, I think it was $6.3 million. Okay.
Sure,
yeah.
Do it.
You know what it was? It was 16 Candles.
Oh, that's
Came out in 1985. Yeah, and it's a pretty nice looking house in there. And
love it.
Yeah. Anyway, we get off track. So we got plan-free travel, where you just kind of like fly by the seat of your pants. Go do it. The concert tourism. You kind of dabbled a little bit on that, Lauren. Tell us. What do you go to several concerts, or you just kind of like plan a concert?
Long weekend, Taylor Swift's performing, you're planning a trip, and the major key happening in your trip is the concert, for example. But part of the trip, we also saw sports tourism. So heading to a football game, for example, planning your entire trip around that. What we're seeing is travelers, especially this Zillennial type of demographic, they are investing in those more niche, unique experiences that are very specific, and they're willing to pay more too. We're even seeing it in travel insurance. They're also willing to pay more for comprehensive, robust insurance to make sure that they can have fun while also being protected with peace of mind, for example. And that there are two trends that aren't on this survey, but I think are pretty interesting that I have to mention. One is heritage travel. So getting the results back from 23andMe and retracing your family's ancestry, maybe meeting up with some long lost family members over in Europe, for example, and also luxury pet travel. Do you guys travel with dogs, maybe?
No.
No.
Okay. I've done it.
I have 2 cats, and they are staying home.
You have you have piqued my interest. And by the way, flying standby in the airlines, they don't allow us to carry our chihuahuas. So
you'd have to book a flight.
Yeah, I'd have to book a flight, and I'm not going to pay for it when I can get it free. Anyway, tell us about that.
So luxury pet travel, it's not just about bringing your best furry 4-legged friend along. It's also about booking pet-forward, pet-friendly hotels, booking massage or spa treatments for your dog. And even luxury pet dining experiences. There are even many, many airlines that have popped up, I want to say in the last 2 years, solely for dogs. And by the way, I definitely brought my dog to Portugal once. I needed to go through it. I needed to see what it was like. She got an eye infection on the plane. I had travel with the pet care add-on, so they covered it. But it was stressful. Like, why am I in Portugal going to a vet? But anyway, I've done it. And so I understand the trend.
I
mean, for some folks, I guess, obviously, the pets, we love them. They're like kids to a lot of people. Yeah. I understand that.
But when I'm booking a spa appointment for myself, that's a significant conversation about the budget with my husband.
Yes.
My animal is not also getting the spa treatment.
That animal has no idea how much you spent. He's not going to appreciate it. He'll rather just be.
Mine wouldn't. No.
Listen, stay on the couch and just pet him.
Or maybe give him some scrambled eggs. That's like a big day for the dog,
yeah,
right?
Right.
Like that's all they need.
All right, so we got concert tourism, and by the way, Todd, our audio engineer, planned a little trip with his wife. What's the place in Colorado called where it's kind of a backdrop?
The Red Rocks.
Yes, the Red Rocks. Saw Duran.
So we've got a concert traveler.
Yeah.
The other one on here on this survey that I thought was so interesting is silent tourism. Can you walk us through what that actually means?
Yeah, so a lot of people, Zillennials, are booking like sleep retreats, and the sleep retreats can come with itineraries, right? Silent walking tours, meditation. This is something that I could not do for 30 minutes, let alone 5 days, 7 days, etc. But people are really investing in this trend.
Is that just because we are so busy and so connected? What is the insight into what's driving that one?
I think that this is something that's been more trendy and tied to health and wellness, kind of cutting off yourself from all of your devices, for example, being in very calm spaces, coming back in touch with yourself. I think it's something that we'll see more and more. And it's kind of like an offshoot of entrepreneurs going to those silent retreats, for example. So I'm not surprised to see this trend at all.
You know, when it comes to silent retreats, there's one that really comes to mind, and I know a lot of celebrities did it. I think Aaron Rodgers did it. It's somewhere, I don't even know where it is, but it's in the United States. And you check in, and you're in this room, and it's completely dark.
That sounds like hell to me.
I mean, it is pitch black. You can't see anything, and you stay in there at least 24 hours, but it's a couple of days.
The claustrophobia that I would experience would be debilitating.
It's crazy. I mean, there's not one little stream of sunlight or anything coming in, and you're in there by yourself, just kind of like, you know,
How do you see what you're eating? Or do you just not get to eat?
No, you eat, but you have to fix it, you know, like you have no eyesight. The whole it's supposed to make you come in tune with yourself. You forget your.
Would you do that?
I don't think so. I couldn't go. I couldn't go 3 hours in the total dark.
I don't think you could go without chatting either. I sit next to you in the newsroom, and I think you would struggle.
Are you saying I talk too much?
No, but I think you would enjoy chatting with your fellow.
Well. Then I'm
attendees.
I'll be talking to myself then, just to make the time go.
This is one of travelers' pet peeves too. So in this same survey, we asked them their pet peeves. Biggest pet peeves were overly chatty passengers, and this is my major pet peeve, not the chatty passenger part. When somebody's listening to their device without their headphones on, and it's super loud in the plane, train, whatever. But the biggest pet peeve, the common denominator, were feet. So feet on your armrests, feet kicking your chair, and even people wearing flip-flops or taking their shoes off on planes. Zillennials get the ick from feet.
I understand the ick from feet, but I wear sandals on the plane, and I don't feel bad about that. I keep my sandals on my feet, but I wear sandals. Is that wrong?
No. I mean, no, that's footwear. Just don't take them off.
No, they stay on.
Yeah, they should.
But I don't want to make people grossed out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, your flip-flops or whatever, don't take them off.
Have you ever had somebody bumping into the back of your seat? Not a kid, because sometimes you can't help it as the mom of somebody who has little wiggly bodies.
Yeah, I mean, if I get a kick, I mean, it's an accident. I'm not gonna, it's not a big deal. My big pet peeve, Lauren, you gotta weigh in on this. First of all, I hate the middle seat. Number two, I listen. If I'm the middle seat, I'm getting the armrest because we've talked about this a million times, Susan. If you're on the window, you kind of like lean to the window. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got your space. If you're on the aisle, you kind of like lean that way, right? Because you have space. And the middle guy gets it, right?
I mean, I think there's got to be like a little give and take.
No, what give and take? The armrest is like 3 inches wide. There's no give and take there.
I think you have the right to kind of claim most of the armrest, but like you can't be annoyed if somebody is, kind of close to you there.
A quarter on it.
I told you before, a guy and I almost got into it. It was luckily it was only a 45-minute flight from Vegas, and yeah, I was in the middle seat, and yeah,
people get angry when they travel. It's almost the arm wrestling is almost like a silent battle a little bit.
Hey, Lauren,
it's a weird.
So when you're in the middle seat, I mean, what do you do? Do you claim the arm wrest?
I am never in a middle seat. I literally was in a middle seat. Probably 12 years ago. I'm in travel insurance, so I'm traveling all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I am not middle seating it. I can't do it.
You'll pay extra no matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've gotten to the point where I do spend more to book the seat that I want with a little bit more legroom and window or aisle. But obviously, when I was in college, I didn't do that. I was like, okay, I'll take the middle seat.
Why do people feel the need to be on speakerphone also? Because I see that at the airport a lot too. They're walking around like they're in their living room and they're talking to people we don't care to hear. What have you seen that?
Yeah, I see it everywhere. I see it everywhere I travel, on the train, the airport, the plane, or even and maybe this is too intense, but I'm just gonna say it. When people have the sounds on their phone, every time you get a text message or a phone call. This is so upsetting for me to the point where I'm like, do I have an issue? Yeah. But no, you have to keep your phone on silent, have it vibrating. I get it.
It's hilarious. I actually saw a meme about this the other day. Like, if you would have told myself, that I would be like way back when in high school, we used to pay for ringtones. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we would pay to have the cool ringtone.
Sure.
Or the cool buzz or vibrate on those giant Nokia brick phones.
Right.
And now to hear a ringtone, can you imagine spending money on that?
I did.
It's just unfathomable.
Listen, I spent $1 on the good, the bad, and the ugly for my ringtone.
But that feels crazy now, right?
It's only $1. It's $1, not $1 every time it rings. It's $1 like one time purchase, and that's it. Wah, 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 wah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the ringtone.
Scary. Does it still go off?
Yes. Listen, when we're done, I'm going to have you call me.
Oh my God.
I haven't had my phone ring in years. It's all completely silent.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's why you don't answer my phone call then when I call you. All right. We got fandom travel. We covered that. Silent tourism. Sports tourism. We kind of talked a little bit about that.
We know that we kind of get that vibe here in Arizona because we have a lot of people coming to Arizona for the Phoenix Open, the golf tournament in February for...
the first thing that comes to my mind, NASCAR. Because I'm a big NASCAR guy, and man, I tell you...
Two races a year here.
Two races a year. One's coming up November, but people travel.
And then a lot of people travel to Cardinals games. The away team fans, they make this their big away game.
Yes, at least when they're playing, like, say, the Niners or the Chargers or something like that. I mean, I don't think people really want to go to see the Ravens or the Jets play
at all, just in general.
Well, just in general, but also, that's a long trip, like we talked before.
Yeah, but if they're trying to escape the East Coast weather, late, deep into the football season.
Well, okay, you got to be a big fan, I guess. Yeah. Hey, Lauren.
There's one more trend, which is just shoulder season travel.
Sure.
So it's kind of, opting for a location that you're missing the busy season, but you're getting to take advantage of the lower prices, for example. So we're seeing a lot of that too, especially right now, right after the summer peak.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit ago that people are willing to spend more money to kind of do these kind of experience travel things versus just regular hop on the plane like I am, go to mom and dad's house with the kids for Christmas. Do you see this changing at all? I mean, people are getting a little bit tighter about their budget right now. Inflation is a concern, for the past couple of years for a lot of people. Do you see people moving away from spending more for these experiences, or do you think they're going to keep spending?
I think that travel spend is just continuing to rise no matter what. This is a trend that I've seen. I'm actually surprised that this demographic is spending $2,500 on average per person for experiences like this. And I think we're seeing it across the board. Flights are getting more expensive. People are still buying them. People are still traveling. I think many American consumers feel that travel, it's not a luxury, it's a right. And they would like to take a few trips per year, whether that's international or domestic.
Hey, listen, you're with Faye Travel Insurance, Lauren, and that's the company that, I'm sorry? Oh,
yeah, I'm with Faye.
Yeah. I thought you corrected me. Did I mispronounce it? And yeah, Faye Travel is the one that came up with the survey. So just tell us a little bit about Faye Travel Insurance. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. In a nutshell, we have a travel insurance app that enables you to get your trip covered in 60 seconds. You can file claims digitally and be reimbursed on approved claims, and even common travel snafus like delays, emergency medical scenarios, etc., directly to your phone's wallet. When you get those reimbursement funds, many times when you're still on the trip, you can tap and pay with them or just transfer them to your bank account, whatever's more comfortable. We're very much the first to do this in the States. We've taken a quite archaic industry with a pretty bad reputation. When you think of travel insurance, many people think, ew, why, bad, no. And we've made it fast and quick, and I would even say fun and delightful. We've packed a ton of other value into that Faye app. Telemedicine, so you can speak to doctors on the phone when you're abroad. Pre-trip essentials, what plug types to pack, if there are security mandates, and even a safekeeping feature, so you can upload copies of crucial documents like your passport or your hotel reservations in case you lose them and you want Faye to give them to you just in case you're on the road. So we're doing a lot. We've gained quite a lot of popularity because we're that main player that's just modernizing the space.
Well, I think it's easy. I mean, that's the big thing. It's easy for people. So when things are easy, they're more apt to do it. So I totally get that.
Easy to do it, you can understand. Yeah. Because a lot of times when you're buying travel insurance, it's like you don't even understand what you're getting. So we just put it in plain English and make it easy, you know?
Mm-hmm. What is the biggest mistake you see people making when it comes to travel insurance?
Oh my gosh. So I would say that many people think that their health insurance covers them or that their travel credit card covers them. And unfortunately, only until the you-know-what hits the fan do you realize the opposite. Most health insurance, they don't cover you internationally. And most travel credit cards, they do have some benefits for sure, but they're very limited. So maybe there's roadside assistance or lost luggage, but you have to book everything on the card. And usually it doesn't come with emergency medical reimbursement, for example, which is really important when you're abroad. You don't want to come back from your trip in debt.
How do we find Faye Travel? You got a website?
Withfaye.com.
Oh, okay. Again,
made
it very easy. All right. Hey, Lauren, listen, be careful overseas. And thanks for being on the On Your Side podcast. We really appreciate it. It was a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Lauren.
For having me. Bye.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton. And I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock. And every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.